Hey, what's happening, family? Welcome back to the QL Experience. I am so excited because the woman that we're sitting down with, she knows what it means to build your own platform and to navigate in real time. She's an entertainment journalist. She's an on-air personality, and she's also the creator behind the viral brand Leah's Lemonade, from interviewing major celebrities to landing her first job in radio. She's carved out a space for media, and I'm excited to have her on the show today. Leah Henry from wait a minute, the DMV?
Yeah, I mean, I'm back in DC finally. So, a Texas girl at heart, but yes, in the DMV. The DMV made me. So, I always rep the DMV hard.
What is life like in the DMV right now, Leah?
Baby, it's expensive. That's one thing I'll say. But no, it's good. I went to Howard University. I'm a daughter of the DMV area. I wasn't born here, but I've lived my adult life here. I've made my mistakes here. I've cried here. I've grown here, and so the DMV area is near and dear to my heart. And I love being back here. So really excited to be back
Yeah.
after 3 years.
Yeah. Now, what led you back to the DMV was because you were where you were at Power, a radio station, and then unfortunately you were let go, and then you were trying to figure life out. So you decided, well, let me come on back home. But before Power, before radio, before all of that, there was Leah's Lemonade. Talk about Leah's Lemonade. How did that even become a thing?
That's kind of a loaded question, but I mean, long story short, I was working full time in news. I was a entertainment producer at a local station here in DC after I graduated from Howard, and I met a radio personality at the time and was like, "Look, this producing stuff is cool, but I always wanted to do radio.
Yeah.
So if there's any way I can come up there and help you, and just be in the room, I knew the importance of being in rooms, and so I started going and helping this local morning show at the time at my old station KYS, and
Yeah.
I was there every morning. I would get there early, 5 a.m. I'd help them produce the show, and then I would leave and commute to my producing job. So I was working full time doing an unpaid internship, if you will, but I wanted to be in the room. And so one day they were like, "Hey, we think you're funny. Let's create a segment. Let's do a segment with you. I think you're really funny. Let's find something. I think we could add you to the show." And I was like, "Okay, great." So I called my professor from Howard, and I was like, "Girl, I don't know what to do. They just want me to be funny. I don't know." And she was like, "I don't know, call it, people love alliteration, Leah's Lemonade." I was like, "Ew, I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't like it." And so when I came to the station the next day, I was talking to the female co-host at the time, and I said, "Someone suggested Leah's Lemonade." She was like, "I love it. I love it. Let's run with that. Leah's Lemonade. That'll be the segment title." Over the years, everything I did was under the guise of Leah's Lemonade. Any interviews that I did, I got a logo made. I started to really just try to push this thing forward. And years and years and years of kind of just doing it on the cuff, the pandemic hit. And I was producing a show that I was formerly on. It was not ideal for me to be the producer after being on the show.
Yeah.
And so, well, solely the producer. I was the producer, but I was also on the show. At the time they pivoted to just keeping me as a producer. I wasn't happy about it. But then, boom, we get into the pandemic. And in the pandemic, I realized that there were people doing interviews that didn't do interviews. Like when I realized Drake was doing, quarantine radio because he was bored in his kitchen, I said, there's an untapped market here. These celebrities are willing to talk to people because they have nothing else to do like the rest of the world. And because of my former experience as being an entertainment producer, I had the contacts. So I started slowly reaching out to my contacts like, "Hey, can I do an interview? Hey, I work here. Hey, are you open to it?" And then boom, I do one interview, another interview, one goes viral, another interview, another one goes viral, another interview, and then so on and so forth. And over time, I just started to build this notoriety
Yeah.
for doing these viral interviews. And so that's kind of how Leah's Lemonade took off.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for years before people knew what it was, before people even cared about a Leah's Lemonade or what I was doing on the interview front. But the pandemic is really when it took off.
So when you talk about the pandemic, what was that one defining interview, right? When after you put that out and you saw the numbers, you was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is real. Like I can do."
Um, I mean, I think just going viral in general by myself was the thing, but I think the first interview that made me realize this is a different type of virality because the reality is as a urban entertainment host. You know, there is notoriety on the urban front, but there's a different conversation when TMZ is picking your story up, when E News is talking about E News Canada, when they're talking about your interview in other languages. That was the Matthew Knowles interview. That interview for me was the interview that changed kind of like, you know, the level of virality I had hit previously. And I think that, you know, it was news for everybody. It wasn't just Black people were consuming the news, which had been kind of my format prior and still kind of is. I still
Right.
have a mostly urban, you know, touch, but that Matthew Knowles story was the first story that, you know, I woke up that morning and saw my face on TMZ and people were sending me pictures like, I see you on TV, you know? So that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is huge.
Yeah. So we fast forward from there. You get your dream job. You're working at Power. And I loved you over there. I ain't even gonna hold you, Leah. Like I was listening to you on my iPhone. I was listening to you on the website. But then you lose the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I want to ask, what was your first emotion when you got those words that you would be let go, or that your contract would not be renewed? Like, were you angry? Were you embarrassed? What was that moment like?
Uh, it was reassurance. Cause
Yeah.
I like honestly speaking, I was gonna walk away. My contract was up in a month, and I got laid off before. And in hindsight, I think that was God's provision anyway. Because I think about how difficult it has been for me to find my next, and
Mhm.
I think the narrative would be a lot different had I walked away. You look crazy in this economy walking away from a job when it's so hard to get jobs. But I
Yeah.
think, you know, being able to leave because I was laid off like several other people, I think it's a different narrative. So I think that was God's provision because I had already been praying at the top of the year. I fasted at the top of the year and I said, God, if you want me to stay in Ohio, I'll do it, even though Ohio wasn't the dream job that I thought it was going to be. It was actually a lot that came with that role. And so I was like, God, if you want me to stay because there's something bigger you have for me here, I'm open and willing because I don't want to block my blessing thinking that this tainted experience should be the reason I leave, right? And so I was very open to whatever I felt like God was going to say to me in that time. And he told me it was time to go. So when I got laid off, all I could do was laugh because I said, God, you're so funny. Like, I thought I was leaving on my terms, but you said, no, you're going to leave on mine. And
Yeah.
so I didn't feel anything. That's why if you follow me on social media, the day I got laid off, I put it online. There was no need to hide. There was no need for it to be a secret. I didn't make the decision. The
Yeah.
company did. So, you know, it wasn't based on performance. It wasn't based off of anything bad that I did. So, you know, I didn't feel shame in that, you know, and look at the industry. Shoot, Sherry Shepherd about to get laid off.
Right, like the
So
industry is consistently changing, but when you think about the industry, statistics show that women, especially Black women, are often first impacted by like media layoffs. So like when that happened to you, did it hit differently?
well, no, not really, because I'll be honest too. I also have been in this game for a decade, and I've watched people that I loved and thought was super talented get laid off from
Mhm.
plethoras of companies that I've worked for. Even the company that laid me off, I've survived several sets of layoffs within that company. So, you know, they always say in radio, if you've never been fired, you never really have done radio.
Yeah,
And I mean, I wasn't fired, I was laid off, but you know, I think the notion of that remains the same. This is a part of this business. None of us are, as much as we love QL, as much as we love Leah, none of us are above reproach in this industry, and none of us are any company's bread and butter. And you know, the more that I sit unemployed and the more I watch so many talented journalists and on-air personalities lose their job and come into a market where there's a huge pot. There's the journalist that I really respect and wanted to be like at one point
yeah,
on Threads the other day was like, you know what? I'm about to go apply at Trader Joe's. This girl has sat down with everybody, and I mean everybody. And she's like, I have to humble myself to go work at Trader Joe's. It's hard out here for Black women media talent. It's difficult. There's not the jobs out there that there once were. And so
yeah.
I don't feel shame. I'm you know, I what God has for me is for me. That's how I feel about the season of my life I'm in, honestly.
Well, Leah, I just want to say congratulations in advance because I know that God is up to something as it regards to you. I'm just happy to call you my friend. It's just really dope to see you navigate through this stage in your life, right? And you're doing it with a certain level of tenacity and a certain level of confidence. And I just think that's really dope because, again, like I said before, people lose their self in situations like this.
Yeah. Listen, no, I thank you for that because I ultimately want to touch lives. Like, interviewing people, I think people think that, like I'm some well-studied journalist, which I am an honors journalist now. But, I think it's a gift, and it's a gift of connecting with people. And bottom baseline of what I do with Leah's Lemonade and why my interviews are so compelling and why people feel so comfortable sharing with me is because it's the connection point. I love to connect with people. Since I was a little girl, I've loved to run my mouth, but the running of the mouth has less to do with about being talkative more than it has to do with connecting with people. So anything that I do, I hope that it's authentic. I hope that people feel me and see me for who I am. And I just try to be real because there's enough fake filtered phoniness on the internet.
Yeah. Well, listen, family, from the DMV to South Carolina, Leah's Lemonade is in the building with me. And coming up next, she's doing what she does best. That's Leah's Lemonade. We're talking about some of your favorite trending topics right here in the upstate. Yo, don't forget, check out the QL show in your car. You know I'm on your radio Monday through Fridays on The Block and B93.7. If you're listening to me on The Block, you can check me out Monday through Fridays, 3 o'clock until 7. And then if you're listening to me on B93.7, you can check me out 7 o'clock until 10 midnight. Tell a friend and tell a friend. The QL show is live on your radio weekdays. Welcome back to the QL Experience. Of course, I'm excited. My DMV sister, Leah, is in the building. What up, Leah?
Hey.
So, I was first introduced to you because of Leah's Lemonade. I mean, you were going viral with the interview from Matthew Knowles, the interview with Stevie J. I still remember when you did the interview with Wendy Williams, and I ain't gonna hold you. I was a little jealous. I was like, wait a minute, where my time at? Talk about that time with Wendy Williams. What was that like to be able to sit with the queen of media?
Pure honor. I before I even asked my question, I gave her flowers because, girl, I'm sitting in this studio because of you. There's no me without you. It was reverence and respect, and I still feel that way. I am praying by some miracle that, Wendy Williams comes back and just gives us a little bit more, because I don't think we really treasured the time we had with this lady. So, an honor.
Speaking about daytime TV is taking a major shift right now. Kelly Clarkson and Sherry Shepherd has just been canceled, but we see Jennifer Hudson has been renewed for season 5. What is your take on this?
It's, as somebody who always had a dream of being a daytime talk show host, it is very sad for me because the talk space is dying. And I'll just plainly say it. Like, we can, the reason they're citing that Sherry's show was canceled was because of just the changing landscape of daytime talk. And, companies don't want to invest in it anymore because people are not watching it as much anymore. But it's unfortunate because, Sherry Shepherd is a tried and true talk host. She has been on talk shows before. She also, picked up the baton when Wendy was out. I feel like Sherry should definitely get another chance if we're going to give Jennifer Hudson. I think Jennifer Hudson and that spirit tunnel has spirit tunneled her to where she's at. But I think that, there's a drastic difference in their shows. And also, Kelly Clarkson left. There's been rumors that she was going to leave. There's been rumors that she didn't want to stay. But I'm hoping that these executives see what Sherry brings. She actually had a great interview with the America's Next Top Model People panel, and it was really compelling. Sherry's just been putting out some really great content lately. So I hope these network wigs are seeing the backlash and maybe hoping before we get to the fall, which is supposed to be the end of her run, that maybe there's a little life left in her show.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking about America's Next Top Model, I mean, the documentary has just hit Netflix, and Tyra Banks is facing a lot of backlash from fans, but also contestants of the show as well. Do you think the people that's giving her the backlash, are they in their right for doing this?
Yes and no. So I don't know if you actually seen Sherry Shepherd did a whole little conversation on her show, a monologue about, as a Black woman, you'll never understand the choices that you are forced to make in these situations when you want to keep a show. And she got emotional, which also kind of shedded the lens of that we would never get to see because we're not in those positions. I think Tyra's intentions were well. I think a lot of things did go awry, and I do think that she was complicit in some things. But I also think that it's easy to get on the internet and have Twitter fingers, because I have been behind a viral moment or something that people have perceived negatively, and I know in my right mind that my intentions are well and what I did was intentional. But I also know that people can perceive it negatively. I also have an affinity for Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks is one of the highest reasons that I wanted to be a talk show host. Her talk show changed my life. So, I do struggle. This is the struggle for me. I'm not going to lie, because on one hand, she was creating negative, toxic environments for bodies on that show, but then on her talk show, she was telling people how to love and embrace their bodies. So this is a hard one for me.
I think to your point, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you believe what Tyra was doing, was it tough love or was it toxic TV though?
It was both. It was both. I think that in Tyra's mind, some of the things that she did were tough love. But then I also one of the contestants, Tiffany, we were rooting for you. She was like, Tyra is full of bleep. No, she talked to me crazy. That whole situation was crazy. There was no love inside of that. And I don't think she's wrong either. I think two things can be true. And I also think there's Tiffany's truth, Tyra's truth, and the truth. We all can sit in the same room, see the same thing, and perceive different things. So, yes, I think the backlash is appropriate. But no, I don't think that Tyra is all to blame. But no, I also think that accountability was not also taken all the way either.
Yeah, and I know a lot of girls have been coming out. They've been telling their story and also talking about how they're taking care of their mental health as well. And as we talk about mental health, the rapper T-Pain, he announced that he was going on tour, but just recently he took to Instagram to let everybody know that he is canceling the tour. And it's because he wants to be left alone. He says that he's choosing his mental health in this time. Of course, a lot of fans are upset that bought tickets. How do you feel about this? What is your take?
Listen, people will use and abuse you till there's no more left. Because guess what? If T-Pain stressed himself out to the point of a stroke, then y'all be sad. Then we be on the internet. If something happened to that man because his mental health capacity crashed, and that ultimately led to something very negative happening, we'd be on social media saying, "Oh, this was my favorite T-Pain song." Remember what? You know what I mean? Artists are human beings, and we take that for granted. Like I said, had to get off of social media myself because I was overwhelmed. I can't imagine being on a tour where you don't sleep. He's been on tour actually for a while. I saw him like a year ago, so going hard. And if he decides, you know what, I can't give you my best because I'm not my best. As a fan of someone, I'm not really sure how people can't respect that. I get it, you earned your money, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna get it back. It's not like you lost. It's not like he's taking it and going off and being like, Fire Festival, I took your money and then we just eating tuna fish sandwiches. No, he's giving you your money back, but he's also retreating and yielding his time, and I'm not mad about that.
And speaking about tours, Cardi B, I don't know if you saw, but she just launched her tour out in California. But if we fast forward back to the Super Bowl, she was there with Stephon Diggs, her baby daddy. Long story short, after the Super Bowl, she unfollowed him, he unfollowed her. It was, sub tweets and, Instagram posts that was going back and forth. And now she's on this tour, and it seems to be that Cardi is doing well. Like she ain't worried about Stephon Diggs in this season of her life, but she did say something to the fans, I guess. No, it was a back and forth between her and Bia, and she addressed Bia on stage. She was like, I may not be talking to my baby daddy right now, but that don't mean you can talk about him.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cardi, she's young. I think people forget how young she really is. Like, she got married to Offset very young. She had kids very young. And so I think that, we don't give her a lot of grace of kind of what she thrusted herself into. She's a girl from the Bronx who used to be a stripper. Like, I just think that there's a lot that comes with this industry, money, access. And then also, we've all had that ex that we had no business being with, but we went back to them a couple times because, they were fun or whatever we did with them. I just think that, it's super easy to be hypercritical of people, but baby, if your life was on a big screen, there are some things and some people you would go back in the corner when they started to show it on that screen. So I don't know. I think, maybe because she have waited to have another child with him. Sure. I mean, he's having all these kids with all these people in the same year.
Like 6 kids now.
Yeah, and 3 of them were born all in the same year, including Cardi's baby. But, at the end of the day, the kids are here. They're locked in for another 18 years minimally. So I just think, this girl got bigger fish to fry. She got this tour. I'm hoping it's therapeutic for her to see people loving her, because we don't know what these celebrities deal with. It's so hard to tell yourself that you are somebody, even with all of that access, because in the same breath, people will sit online and drag you to filth. Cardi B actually made a post during Christmas because Stephon Diggs didn't spend Christmas with her. And people were like, well, you just had a baby with him. Why he not with your family? And she's like, we're navigating this in real time. He has other kids. And so again, she's trying to figure it out just like you are. So the way you don't hold your baby daddy accountable, make sure you don't talk about her not holding hers. It's a different tax bracket. Just saying.
Listen, family, Leah's Lemonade live on the QL Experience. Leah, we definitely got to bring you back to the show at some point now.
I'm here for it. Let's do it. I love it.
How can people follow you on social media?
Absolutely. All things Leah A. Henry. That is Leaha Henry on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter as well.
And I always ask this question. If this was your last interview, what would you want people to know about Leah Henry?
Jesus. What do I want people to know about me? I just hope that throughout whatever I've done, they have felt the authenticity and my love for people. I hope that people can see that, in everything that I do, I try to connect with people and have people be authentically them. And as I try to be authentically me, and I try to be a good person. Like, this industry is derived of a lot of negative and evil stuff. And I just try to be who God called me to be. And I hope that people see that. And I hope that that's what people love most about me and my brand, regardless of the viral moments and regardless of, what you think about an interview I did. I hope that people see that I tried to be a good person.
Leah, thank you so much for stopping by the show.
Hold on. And I just have to say, I'm so proud of you, friend. Congratulations on this platform. I have been rooting for you as you have been rooting for me. And it's always a pleasure to watch my friends grow and to get new opportunities. You are so well deserving. You are such a consummate professional, and more success and bigger growth for this show, friend. I love you.
Thank you so much. I love you too. Family, this is the QL Experience. Leah, we'll do it again soon.
It's our Carolina Lynn Spotlight. Today we're highlighting Victoria Pekel, the great-granddaughter of voting rights advocate Elise Martin Jones, and she's now starring in Suffs at the Peace Center.
Thank you for having me.
Talk about what does it mean to be right here in South Carolina when you know that you have roots from South Carolina, when you talk about your great-grandmother.
It feels like coming home. I feel like it's been such a powerful experience. I grew up, my great-grandmother, Elise Martin, was a poll clerk, a poll manager. She lived to be 108 years old.
Wow.
So she was volunteering in South Carolina well into her 90s. We do our family reunions in this state every year, 50, 60 of us.
Yeah.
And so to have grown up learning about this woman who was championing for Black folks, especially in her community, to be able to vote and to register to vote was made this show really powerful.
Absolutely. And for those who doesn't know about Suffs and what exactly this show is about, kind of talk about that for a little while.
So Suffs, short for the women's suffrage movement, is a really beautiful musical about the women's suffrage movement, and it kind of follows the last bit of it, right before the 19th Amendment is ratified in 1920. I think we generally don't learn much about it in school.
Yeah.
You hear like, oh, Susan B. Anthony was a person,
Absolutely.
and that's kind of where they stop. But it was like a 70-year movement that took women going to prison and being force-fed, and women picketing at the White House gates, a ton of protests. And so we get to play these real women, and it's a story that takes place over about 7 or 8 years, written by the amazing Shayna Taub, who won 2 Tonys for this Broadway musical. And so it's not just a very historic and educational piece, it's also funny. It's hilarious, it's beautiful, the music is amazing.
And I was going to say that to your point, because when I heard about Suffs, I, of course, thought about the educational piece, the history lesson. But then when you come in, it's like you guys are taking us on the journey of what those women went through during that time.
Yeah, it feels like a way to take an academic work and bring it to life, add humanity to these women, to these kind of words on a page, and bring them to a story that we can tell and share across the country on this national tour.
What is one moment on that stage every night, whenever you're performing, that it just hits you emotionally when you're like, wait a minute?
I get to play Phyllis Terrell, who's the daughter of Mary Church Terrell, who is one of the leading Black suffragists in the movement. And there's a moment in the show where Ida B. Wells, also a very important Black suffragist and civil rights activist, and Mary Church Terrell and my character come together and sort of remind not just the audience but ourselves that I was here and Black women were at the forefront of this movement, even though know their stories are not often told. We're not often told about that sector of women's suffrage. And so it's a really beautiful, emotional moment. It's not just sad, it's like inspiring, it's powerful. It's like, we got this and we can do this together.
Absolutely. And again, family, the Peace Center is where it's going down. Suffs is here all the way until Sunday. Kind of talk about, because back in the day, there was a time where I feel like women's voices were being quieted in a way. But you guys are uplifting women's voices. How do you feel like women are leaving this place?
I think that's been the most powerful part. This is my first job. I just graduated from Yale last May.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I literally just graduated. I've been on the road since then. And so getting to go to the stage door at the end of the show and talk to people, especially young women, they love the show. They're so emotional. Older women too. We had some women standing up during the finale last night here in Greenville.
They were on my road.
Yeah,
No, absolutely.
I talked to
like,
them after the show, and they were like, I felt like giving up, and this show is really what I needed right now. So that's been so powerful. People come back and they bring their families, and not just women. Like, I was talking to this kid after the show. He was like, yo, that was sick. Like, young boys see themselves in the show too. There are male characters, so you get to see the allies of this movement, and I just think it's been awesome to see the reaction.
It's so powerful. An all-women cast. And you guys killed it. You got to come see it. Suffs is here at the Peace Center all the way until Sunday. If you could describe this show in one word, just one word, what would you say?
Powerful. It's kind of a basic word, but it really, really is. It feels so powerful every night.
Listen, family, get here. Peace Center. You can get your tickets at peacecenter.org.